My friends, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. I hope you all are doing well. This is a random lunch and chat episode that's going to feature more than just us talking. After I get done with lunch, I'm going to begin working on the cabin. And that's because the cabin has a small leak with one of the windows. So today we are going to address that issue and hopefully take care of this problem completely. First things first though, it is time to eat. I tell you folks, it is hot today. 85 degrees up here in the mountains. It is scorching hot. There's always someone in the comment section when I comment about like the weather, the temperature, and they always say like, well, come down to Florida, experience that. I've been there, I've lived there, I've gone all around the country. Trust me, I know what real hot is like, but once you get accustomed to a certain location, well, you're accustomed to it. So here in the mountains, I am without a doubt accustomed to the temperature that we have on average. And on average, it is not 85 degrees. What I have for lunch today is a sandwich. It looks like it's a BLT, I think. Oh yeah, a BLT and some chips, barbecue. Even though it is warm today, again around 85 degrees, it's really nice. The humidity is low, there's a slight breeze, so at times I'm absolutely miserable, but then again, as soon as that breeze kicks in, it really does feel good. Luckily, this heat wave is just about over. Next week, highs around 70 degrees. That's not bad. We're talking about lows in the 50s, maybe even the 40s. That's gonna be sweet. And also, rain is on the way, everybody. Without a doubt, it is dry here at Lone Wolf Mountain. Let's give the sandwich a shot here, everybody. Susie, thank you so much for lunch. You are amazing. Susie is the best, everybody. She really is. All right, here we go. So let me ask you all, what's new? What's new in your lives? Comment down below, folks. I read every single comment. I can't respond to them all, there's too many, like thousands per day. But I do read them all. So again, what's going on in your lives? Anything new? Anything exciting? Tragic? Here at the channel, you're free to share whatever you want. And that's because life has its ups and downs. It's just how it goes. As for myself, what's new? Well, I've touched upon this in a previous adventure, but I might as well touch upon this again. Bento, the Japanese Land Cruiser, it has been sold. When I purchased that, I knew that like getting accustomed to driving, the right side of the vehicle was going to be possibly difficult. I had heard from some people like, no big deal. I heard from others, it's a big deal. For myself, it wasn't that big of a deal. I pretty much got accustomed to it. But on some of like the country roads, it was a nightmare to drive. I mean, truly scary. Because out here in the country, a lot of these roads are very narrow, super windy. And oftentimes you're right on the edge. Most of the time it's a cliff, it could go into a creek, it can go off of a mountain. There's no guardrails, nothing. So when you were driving that vehicle, you're constantly staring at the edge of the road. And folks, I did not like that. But more importantly, Susie did not like it. And because of that fact, we actually sold it to a viewer, which is very, very cool. I know it's in good hands and that makes me feel good. Because the vehicle is sweet. I mean, very, very sweet. I really did like it a lot. But I couldn't have a vehicle that like Susie didn't want to drive. You know what I mean? It's funny, I've heard from viewers who have purchased Japanese vehicles after I purchased Bento, and they are absolutely loving their vans and SUVs. I think that's so cool. Out here in the country, because we have those super, super narrow roads, that does make things a little bit difficult. Driving on gravel, no big deal, but those narrow country paved roads, at times they were a nightmare. At the moment, I have no plans to buy anything else. We have Susie's van, Packy, and we have the truck. And that's good enough. Let's give these chips a shot. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Finally, everyone, it's beginning to cool off a little bit. It's almost 4 o'clock now. But we're in the shade thanks to the trees here. That breeze makes all the difference in the world. If it wasn't for that breeze, I would not want to be out here. It's pretty funny. Earlier today, I was filming a review on a tarp, the One Tigris 9.5 foot by 9.5 foot tarp. Don't buy that product. It's terrible. It failed me. Anyways, I was filming up here. A wind gust picked up, and all of a sudden, the leaves started falling out of the trees. Folks, fall is coming. It is on its way. I noticed already that plenty of leaves are changing colors. In fact, a lot of the maples are dropping their leaves already. I saw a maple tree yesterday on the way home. Over half of the leaves were on the ground. That's pretty early. To give you all an update on my family, my daughter, who's in the Navy, she's doing very well. She just re-enlisted another time. Let's see, her first 4 years was up a few years ago, and she did like a short re-enlistment, something like that. They needed her for a special operation. Just in case you don't know, my daughter's involved with military intelligence. So she has to go all around the world doing certain operations, which I know absolutely nothing about. She says she loves her job. She says she sees and does all sorts of wild things, stuff that she'll never be able to talk about, and the pay must be really, really good. With this re-enlistment, she's guaranteed 2 years in the United States before she has to deploy again. So that's pretty good. As far as my son goes, he's doing great. He's into his 2nd year at college, which he absolutely loves. He goes to school full time. He also goes to school during the summer. He has a full-time job, and he just got himself a rather sweet apartment where he lives. It's nice, folks. As far as Susie goes, she's doing great. In fact, she's been talking about doing a solo adventure with you all. A solo wet weather adventure. That is something that I personally would like to see. I'd like to see the way that she goes about, like, doing her trip in the rain. I'm sure it's going to be different than I, because everyone's different, everyone does things differently, and that's what I would find interesting. Let's have a little bit of coffee, and then we'll go to work. We need to fix the cabin. So, my friends, cheers everyone, cheers. Recently, I sent my buddy Facette over at Outdoors with V. Check out his YouTube channel. He is a very cool guy. But recently, I sent him 3 packs of my favorite coffee. And I told him, you don't have to mix all 3 packs of coffee together and drink it, unless he just wants to. But definitely don't do that before you have to go to sleep, or anytime even remotely close to bedtime, because you're not going to go to sleep. You're going to stay up all night. Trust me, folks, I've made that mistake plenty of times on the channel. Plenty of times. It's only when I'm filming adventures do I mix 3 packs of coffee together and make my coffee that strong. There have been plenty of trips where I've made coffee and stayed up all night long because I could not go to sleep. It absolutely sucks. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I do. It's funny. Anyways, folks, let's get to work. I'm going to grab the key, we'll go inside, I'll show you all what the problem is and what's been taking place. Nope, you cannot stay here, my friend. You gotta go. I noticed the other day when I stayed the night here that one of these screws next to the window is rusted. It's because of that we're going to go to the outside, get the ladder ready, and we are going to silicone this window and maybe even some of the seams of the metal. that make up this trailer. You can see that there was some residue coming from that screw hole, basically going down the wall. Now, I've personally seen this leak from that point and also from the window. That's why I know it leaked from the window, even though you really couldn't see any runs in it. With this trailer here, what they used as far as waterproofing amongst the seams and the rivets is silicone. So my plan is to basically go over the seams with the window here with silicone, and in the future, if I need to, I'll come back with a special product. It's called Lexel. That stuff is amazing. Think of it as the ultimate caulking. What you could do with it is pretty incredible. Last winter, I discovered a rotten board on the side of the house right next to a window. To replace that board was going to be a huge task, and because the weather was about to turn nasty, I really didn't have the time to replace it. So I took some Lexel last year, covered the entire board, basically painted it on. It covered up that board, protected it 100%, stopped it from rotting any further, and the house and the window was absolutely fine until I could replace it this year. First things first is to go around to the backside. I have a rag here, I have some water. I'm going to clean the window. Get all of the debris, all of the pollen off of it. Alright folks, well, I've cleaned up the rivets, the window, and some of the seams here. I see 2 points of interest where I believe it could be leaking at. There's a point right here in the corner where there's an actual gap between the silicone. And on the other side where it's leaking at, I can see that the silicone is beginning to wear away. Something you have to consider with silicone is that it does begin to wear out over time. And it doesn't matter if it's exposed to sunlight or not. With it being exposed to air is enough for it to begin drying out. And as soon as it begins drying out, you have cracks in it. From there, moisture can work its way in. So I've cleaned it up. It's now dry. Let's put some silicone on it. And let's see if we can't seal this up. I'm not sure if you all could see what I was doing there, but I was cutting the tip off of this so that it's angled. That way, when I go around the window, around the seams and the rivets, it's because of this tip here, it's going to put out a really nice bead. It's going to make much less of a mess in the end, and it's going to look better when I'm done. I will have to go around this rather quickly. I have about 5 minutes before it really begins to set in. So my plan is to go around the window, then I'll use my finger and smooth it all out. And I have to get all of this done within 5 minutes. So far I've gone around one window, I did one seam, one set of grommets. Now I'm going to go over to these 2 sets of grommets, and I'm going to call it done for now. The job that I've done here should take care of the leaking issue. Unfortunately, the only way to know whether or not that's correct is for it to rain. As it stands right now, there's no chance of rain for at least the next 4 days. So maybe after that point we'll come back and we'll make sure that it's dry here. Alright my friends, we are done for the day. We've done all that we can do. On the way home I'll stop by the hardware store and pick up some screws here that match this size. Because these screws have begun rusting and oxidizing, I went ahead and I pulled them out. And that's a good idea. If you leave those in, they will continue to degrade, and that damage will spread to the actual walls and the materials. So I went ahead, pulled them out, and I will replace them. I want to thank you all very much for joining me for this random episode. It was certainly random. We had lunch, we worked on the cabin. Hopefully the repairs that we've done here have solved the leaking issue. I will do my best to keep you all updated. And of course, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'm happy to help out, or to inform you whether or not that solved the issue. Again, folks, it's supposed to rain in maybe 3 or 4 days, something like that. So hopefully within a week, we'll have an answer, whether or not we solved the issue. In the southeast here, the conditions are very hard on just about everything. That's why you don't see like ghost towns in the southeast. That's because there's so many forces working against any sort of standing building, any sort of structure. Even something like this doesn't stand a chance unless it's well taken care of. And that's why as soon as I saw an issue, I came out here and I begun working to fix it. I'm going to pack up. It's time to go home. It is now 5:30. Everyone take care, be well, strength and honor. I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.